somebody is a non-tribal. This is something that we know, but come to the point. What exactly are you trying to tell us? All these different set of people, they're inhabiting this land, India, right? Let's say to govern this entire country, we need to agree upon few things. Agree upon few things like education. Who should decide whether the child should go to a school or not? Should this decision be taken by the government or should be taken by the family? For that, let's agree upon a rule. Whether there should be a property, whether there should be any limit on this property or it should be unlimited. That there has to be a rule. Because each set of people will have their own viewpoints. Imagine for a while, should we allow one section of the people to discriminate against others? If we ask this question to them, they will say no discrimination should be allowed. If we ask this question to them, maybe they will say yes, discrimination should be allowed. So since we are a land of diversity, India is a diverse country. In this diverse country, there is religious diversity, there is caste diversity, there is linguistic diversity, there is food diversity, there is ethnic diversity. We have one section of the society speak of different rule, another section of the society speak of a completely different rule. They will not agree with each other. Should a man be allowed to have 4 wives? Ask this question to different people will have different answers to give. But even then, this set of people, they will have to live together and occupy this land. For that, they will have to have minimal coordination. How will we have this coordination if we have rules? But rules in the sense, what if when we make these rules, let's say to govern this entire country, we need to agree upon few things. Agree upon few things like education. Who should decide whether the child should go to a school or not? Should this decision be taken by the government or should be taken by the family? For that, let's agree upon a rule. Whether there should be a property, whether there should be any limit on this property or it should be unlimited. That there has to be a rule. Because each set of people will have their own viewpoints. Imagine for a while, should we allow one section of the people to discriminate against others? If we ask this question to them, they will say no discrimination should be allowed. If we ask this question to them, maybe they will say yes, discrimination should be allowed. So since we are a land of diversity, India is a diverse country. In this diverse country, there is religious diversity, there is caste diversity, there is linguistic diversity, there is food diversity, there is ethnic diversity. We may have one section of the society speak of different rule, another section of the society speak of a completely different rule. They will not agree with each other. Should a man be allowed to have 4 wives? Ask this question to different people will have different answers to give. But even then, this set of people, they will have to live together and occupy this land. And for that, they will have to have minimal coordination. How will we have this coordination if we have rules? But rules in the sense, what if when we make these rules, but we are not sure whether Muslims will follow this or not, whether Brahmins will follow this or not, whether Tamilians will follow this or not, but we will have to agree that everybody will follow these rules. These rules are what we call constitution. That's the primary function of the Constitution. What is the function of a Constitution? To provide a set of basic rules that allow for minimal coordination amongst members of the society. All of us agree that we will have freedom of speech and expression. All of us agree that we will have right to life. All of us agree that we will abide by the Constitution, respect the national flag, respect the national anthem. That's the job of the Constitution. That's the first function of the Constitution. Okay? We make these rules. Should these rules be made by Brahmins, or should these rules be made by Christians? Should these rules be made by Tamilians, or should these rules be made by Hindi-speaking population of this country? The Constitution has to specify this as well. Not just that we should have our set of rules which everybody should abide by, but also who has the power to make these rules. And making these rules is the power of the parliament. That's mentioned in the Constitution. And listen to me carefully. This is a government. These are citizens. Be careful. Government has a lot of power. A lot of power, and powers that sometimes you can't even imagine. Imagine in the sense, what you read, which lecture you are attending. If the government wants, they will find out. What you are eating, what you are drinking, who are you talking to, where are you headed, which bus are you traveling by, which flight are you taking, unluckily Air India or not. So government has all the power, and government can get to know everything about you. If this government is made up of angels, do you need to fear the government? No. Why? Because angels can do nothing wrong. Guy is an angel. This girl is an angel, which means innocent. They can do nothing wrong. So you don't have to fear the government. But government is not of angels. What if citizens are angels? We don't have to worry about fellow citizens as well, because you don't have to be worried about what your neighbor is doing, because neighbor is an angel. You don't have to worry about the uncle who is passing by, because he is also an angel. You don't have to worry about the truck driver, because they are also angels. But neither the citizens nor the government is made up of angels. After all, make up the society. And from this society, we choose our representatives, and they are part of the government. First, what we need to do is, we need to empower the government, give government the power, but at the same time, then keep a check on the government as well, so that the government cannot misuse its power. For example, knife. This knife you can use to apply butter. This knife you can use to cut vegetables, but this knife you can also use to kill somebody. So we should give the government the power that you can use this knife to apply butter, to cut vegetables, to cut mutton, but not to cut people. First, we need to empower the government with powers, and then keep a check on the government, and that is the job of the Constitution, to set limits on the powers of the government. Because the powers of the government are not unlimited. There is a limitation on the amount of powers that the government can have, and government cannot violate these limitations. That's the function number 3 of our Constitution. Function number 4. Society and people have aspirations. For example, Oxfam report. Oxfam report says 1% Indians control the wealth of the remaining 99%. So look at the entire wealth of this country, and then look at who holds this wealth, who controls this wealth. 1%, top 1% people, they have as much wealth as the remaining 99% of the population, which means disparity or wealth disparity. Oxfam is a non-governmental organization. It releases this report, wealth inequality, wealth disparity, which means there is concentration of wealth in fewer hands. But that is not what the aspiration of the people are. People's aspiration is an equalitarian society, an egalitarian society, where this gulf between rich and the poor should become minimized, should end, should disappear once and for all. It is the job of the government to ensure that wealth inequality, wealth disparity is eradicated or minimized. And the function of the constitution is to enable that government, that this government, you have to fulfill the aspirations of the people. And you have to create a society which is a just society, where there is no discrimination on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, so on and so forth. Listen to me carefully. What is your identity? Are you an Indian? Or a Hindu Indian? Or a Brahmin Hindu Indian? Or a male Brahmin Hindu Indian? Or in Brahmins, there are various categories. From the other side of the river, from this side of the river, different identities. Job of the constitution is to give identity to an Indian. You are an Indian first and Indian last. Because our religion, our both, our caste, our subcaste, they may give us different identities, but all these identities are separate. The first and the only identity that you have is that you are an Indian, because that is how our constitution begins. We, the people of India. Just that. Listen to me carefully. Morality. Should LGBTQIA plus community, should they have a right to marry? Let's debate. Should LGBTQIA plus category be given the right to marry? Yes or no? Yes, yes. Those who are saying no, they should not be given the right to marry. Here, thumbs up. For example, Om says no. Shraddha says no. Very good. Please engage with me. Yes. Muhammad says against the social fabric. Very good. No, no, no. Okay. And those who are saying no, why? Affects family structure. Is the order of the nature. Very good, very good. Yes. Against the nature's law. Very nice. Affects social relations. Where is this argument coming from? That this is against the order of nature, this is against the nature's law, this will affect the social fabric, so on and so forth. Where is this idea coming from? It's a Western concept, it's not an Indian concept. Very good. This comes from morality. And your morality maybe is dictated by your religion. Your morality may be dictated by your caste. Morality may be dictated by, let's say, your family. I told you previously that we in this country have a diverse set of people. Diverse set of people. Some are Hindus, some are Muslims. Morality may vary. Some are tribal, some are non-tribal. Morality may vary. For example, recently there was a tribal girl married to brothers. The rest of the countries may be, oh my God, what is happening in Uttarakhand? But for them, it is part of their morality. So whose morality will be determining factor in India? Your morality, my morality, our society's morality? No. It will be the constitutional morality. What is that constitutional morality? Our constitution does not believe in your religion. Our constitution believes in liberty, equality, fraternity, justice of an individual. That is the most important function that constitution provides. It gives a political identity, it gives a moral identity to an individual. Political identity that no matter which state you belong to, which language you speak, you are an Indian. Moral identity, no matter which religion you belong to, which caste you belong to, which tribal identity you belong to, or subscribe to, that doesn't matter. Our constitutional morality matters. The morality which is mentioned in the Constitution. That is the function of the Constitution. Then, let's go back. Vast majority of contemporary constitutions, typically no matter which religion, religion you belong to, which caste you belong to, which tribal identity you belong to or subscribe to. That doesn't matter. Our constitutional morality matters. The morality which is mentioned in the Constitution. That is the function of the Constitution. And let's go back. Vast majority of contemporary constitutions, we describe basic principles of the state. Are we going to be a secular country or a Hindu Rashtra or an Islamic state or a Khalistani republic? What is the principle of this country? That is mentioned in the Constitution. What is the Constitution? Constitution describes basic principles of the state. Structure in the sense, who is going to be the most important person in this country in terms of who has the power, who will run the government? Is it going to be the Prime Minister or is it going to be the President? President in case of the United States of America. President and his cabinet in terms of India. That is mentioned in the Constitution. Fundamental rights that you and me enjoy. Right to equality, right to freedom, right against discrimination, right to life and personal liberty. These are mentioned in the Constitution. These things cannot be changed through an ordinary legislative act. Legislative act in the sense, now listen to me carefully. This is Parliament. Right? Parliament is legislature, a body which is responsible for making laws. This Parliament has a constituent power. This Parliament has ordinary law-making power. Listen to me carefully. For example, I have to take a decision. The class will be from 6 to 9:30. You tell me at what time should I give you a break? And I will give you a break every day for 15 minutes. For that, I need the answer from you. I need a suggestion from you. I need your advice. Some would say at 8 a.m. Somebody would say in 7:30. Someone will say 8:50. Someone will say never. Someone will say just like no breaks, sir, just teach. Somebody will say, sir, break after every 10 minutes. Sir, please. After every 1 hour, sir, one break. Okay, whatever. This is where I need your advice, and I will say whatever majority decides, we will follow it. And what is the majority? Majority may be 50%. Say those who are in favor of me giving you a break at 7:30, give me a thumbs up. Let's take a poll. For that, first I need to give you a question. So, break. By the way, this is part of our learning. This is part of the lecture. This is not an aside. And I will tell you how this is important. Whether this break should be given at 7:30, whether this break should be given at 8, whether this break should be given never, whether this break should be given every half an hour. Now take this poll and let me know, what do you think? This is the diversity. That means for even an option such as break every half an hour, 6.5% of the students want it. But majority says 8 a.m. Very good. Clear? But this was an easy question. Easy question on which many people would be offended. Whether we give break at 7:30 or 8 doesn't matter. I wanted 8, but if you're giving break at 7:30, even it's okay. No worries. I wanted a break at 8, but if you're giving at 7:30, even that's okay, fine, doesn't matter. But what if I change the question now? Say, class ends. No further class. Complete syllabus, your own. A says yes, B says no. Now, should this decision be taken only by 50%? Or don't you think if at all such a decision should be taken, that should be taken by a larger majority, maybe two-third majority, if at all such a decision should be taken? That is why Parliament has both the powers, constituent power and ordinary lawmaking power. That means if ordinary laws are to be passed, for that we just need simple majority, 50%. To amend the constitution, we need special majority, which means two-thirds, which we will discuss later. That is constitution. Constitution in the sense, basic principles of the state, whether we are secular or we are a Hindu Rashtra, whether Prime Minister or President will have the power, fundamental rights. If at all these needs to be changed, these cannot be changed by ordinary laws. That we will get 50% of the people vote for it and we can change the constitution. No, this cannot be changed through an ordinary legislative act. For that, we require a special majority, a tougher majority, and this higher law is what we call constitution. What are we discussing? I am saying, if for Indian polity, we will have to focus on constitution, but first we need to understand what is a constitution. Now, what is a constitution? Constitution is the supreme law of land which enjoys special legal sanctity. Constitution is the document of people's faith and aspirations. If you want a better definition, that definition is here. The vast majority of contemporary constitutions describe the basic principles of the state. Because what does this constitution tell us? What are the basic principles of the state? What are the structures and processes of government? Fundamental rights of the citizens. And this cannot be altered by ordinary legislative act. This higher law is what we call the constitution. And what are the functions that this constitution performs? First function is to provide a set of basic rules which will allow for coordination amongst the members of society. And if these rules we have to follow, Constitution also has to specify who has the power to make these rules. The Constitution has to impose limitations on the powers of the state, because the powers available with the state are not unlimited. There is a limitation on the powers of the state. Limitation in the sense, state don't. Or violate fundamental rights. No, you can't do that. Don't do this, don't do that. You can't do this. We have to limit the powers of the state. Powers, function of the constitution is to also provide that this government should be able to fulfill the aspirations of the people and create a just society. But the most important function, to provide an identity to the people, both political identity as well as the moral identity. That is the job of the Constitution. And those who understood whatever we discussed till now say true, those who did not say false. Manish, Om, Anshika, Mohit, what is it that you did not understand? Constitutional morality, I will explain, yes, in great detail, but slightly later. Okay, we will come back to this morality point because this was just an introduction. Towards the end, we will discuss in detail what is constitutional morality. But here, just keep in mind that constitution gives us an identity. Because I may have my own identity because of my religion, because of my caste, because of my language, but that's a separate identity. The first and the only identity that constitution gives me is that I'm an Indian. That's the political identity that I have. I may reside in Karnataka, I may speak Kannada, but I'm an Indian. But then there is a moral identity because morality is subjective. What is moral to you may be immoral to you. For example, should girls be wearing jeans or short dresses? That someone may say, yes, as long as it is not affecting me, how does it matter? Someone will say, no, this is against our culture, against our morality. You should be wearing sari, you should drape your head, you should wear parda. So morality varies from individual to individual. But if we are living in a country which is diverse, there are religious diversity, there is caste diversity, there is cultural diversity, linguistic diversity, ethnic diversity. Different set of people will have their own set of moralities. Should a woman have 2 husbands? Should a man have 4 wives? Varies from individual to individual, caste to caste, religion to religion. And you marry your cousin, which happens amongst the Hindus in southern India, which happens in Muslims as well, but may not happen with the Hindu community in the north of India. Because morality varies. But whose morality we will focus on? Individual morality, your caste morality, your religious morality? No, constitutional morality. And constitution's morality says equal. Everybody is equal. Liberty. Everybody has freedom. Justice. Everybody should be non-discriminatory. There shouldn't be discrimination. So constitutional morality we will have to follow. Make it even clear for you, otherwise this doubt will keep ringing in your head and then you will not be able to focus on the lecture. Last foundation. Non-governmental organization, and it is working with these set of people, MSM. Men having sex with men. Homosexuals, gays. Nas Foundation approached the Delhi High Court. Now, please declare Section 377 of Indian Penal Code as unconstitutional. What is the Section 377 of Indian Penal Code? Whosoever indulges in carnal intercourse is against the order of nature. It's a crime. In the sense, against the order of nature in the sense, carnal intercourse in the sense, any sexual interaction which is not peno-vaginal in nature, which does not involve the 2 organs of male and female, it is a crime. Which means lesbians, gays, homosexuality is a crime. And whoever is practicing homosexuality is guilty under Section 377 of Indian Penal Code. Us Foundation approached the Delhi High Court in the year 2001 and said, my lord, we are working with this category of men having sex with men. They are suffering from HIV infection, AIDS. We want to treat them. So, okay, treat them. But sir, in order to treat them, if we declare that they are men having sex with men, first the police will arrest them. So they have committed a crime under Section 377 of Indian Penal Code. Then what do you want? Please declare Section 377 as unconstitutional. It is unconstitutional, which means if homosexuality is allowed, then these people who are suffering from HIV/AIDS, they can come out in the open and openly say that we are homosexuals, but then we are also suffering from this disease. Please treat us. Finally, the year was 2009. Two-judge bench of the Delhi High Court. Section 377 is unconstitutional. Why unconstitutional? Because it violates fundamental rights, which I will tell you later. As we will see in our lectures, when a judgment is given by a court, we can challenge this judgment in a higher court. If the judgment was given in a high court, we can approach the Supreme Court. And Supreme Court said, Suresh Kumar Kaushal case, Section 377 is not unconstitutional. Supreme Court upheld Section 377. Why? Because the court said LGBTQ community is a minuscule minority. For such a minuscule minority, we can't change the rules. If there is a misuse of this law, that's the problem of the court. That's the problem of the police, not the problem of the court. And this Section 377 is part of Indian Penal Code. Who has the power to change Indian Penal Code? That power is with the Parliament. So if Parliament wants to change it, let them change it, but we will not change it. Section 377 is constitutional again. Finally, we will see in our lectures that even the judgment be open and openly is not involved, non-discriminatory. It shouldn't be disparate. Foundation. Non-governmental organization, and it is working. These set of people, MSM, having sex with men, gays. Nas Foundation approached the Delhi High Court. Please declare Section 377 of Indian Penal Code as unconstitutional. What is the Section 377 of Indian Penal Code? Whosoever indulges in carnal intercourse is against the order of nature. In the sense, against the order of nature in the sense, carnal intercourse in the sense, any sexual interaction with a Nas Foundation approached the Delhi High Court. Please declare Section 377 of Indian Penal Code as unconstitutional. What is the Section 377 of Indian Penal Code? Whosoever indulges in carnal intercourse is against the order of nature. A crime. In the sense, against the order of nature in the sense, carnal intercourse in the sense, any sexual interaction which is not vaginal in nature, which does not involve the two organs of male and female, it is a crime. Which means lesbians, gays, homosexuality is a crime. And whoever is practicing homosexuality is guilty under Section 377 of Indian Penal Code. Nas Foundation approached the Delhi High Court in the year 2001 and said, my lord, we are working with this category of men having sex with men. They are suffering from HIV infection, AIDS. We want to treat them. So, okay, treat them. But sir, in order to treat them, if we declare that they are men having sex with men, first the police will arrest them. They have committed a crime under Section 377 of Indian Penal Code. Then what do you want? Please declare Section 377 as unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional, which means if homosexuality is allowed, then these people who are suffering from HIV/AIDS, they can come out in the open and openly say that we are homosexuals, but then we are also suffering from this disease. Please treat us. Finally, the year was 2009. Two-judge bench of the Delhi High Court. Section 377 is unconstitutional. Why unconstitutional? Because it violates fundamental rights, which I will tell you later. As we will see in our lectures, when a judgment is given by a court, we can challenge this judgment in a higher court. If the judgment was given in a high court, we can approach the Supreme Court. And Supreme Court said, Suresh Kumar Kaushal case, Section 377 is not unconstitutional. Supreme Court upheld Section 377. Why? Because the court said LGBTQ community is a minuscule minority. For such a minuscule minority, we can't change the rules. And if there's a misuse of this law, that's the problem of the court. That's the problem of the police, not the problem of the court. And this Section 377 is part of Indian Penal Code. Who has the power to change Indian Penal Code? That power is in the Parliament. So if Parliament wants to change it, let them change it, but we will not change it. Section 377 is constitutional again. Finally, which we will see in our lecture, that even the judgment of the Supreme Court can be challenged again in the same Supreme Court. A landmark judgment in 2018. Now they Johar, Union of India. Supreme Court said homosexuality not a crime. Homosexuality is not a crime, not a crime. Do we say Union of India? Because this case was filed against the Union government. Because after all, Union has to decide whether Section 377 should continue or not. A case which is filed against the central government becomes Union of India. A case which is filed against the state government becomes State of Madhya Pradesh, State of Kerala, State of Maharashtra. For example, Keshavananda Bharati, the State of Kerala, 1973. But be that as it may, the point is, why did the Supreme Court say that homosexuality is not a crime? Because there were people who said homosexuality should continue as a crime. They said homosexuality is not a crime. Those who said it should be continued as a crime, they said it is against the order of nature. Is what animals do. Without any regard to the gender or the sex, they resort to sexual activities. Humans don't do like this, according to them, not according to me. That is why it is against the order of nature. It will fuel a deviant behavior in the society. What will our sons and daughters now imbibe, embrace, learn? And homosexuality is basically a disorder. As if it is a mental disorder. They feel in mind that we are attracted to men, we are attracted to women, but it is a mental disorder. Baba Ramdev said, all these lesbians and gays should come to me, I will solve this problem in 24 hours. So it's a mental disorder. I said, no, it is not a mental disorder. Look at the temples of the Gujarat, openly depicting gay sex into the critics. Homosexuality is not a disorder because World Health Organization, American Psychiatry Association, way back in 1970 said homosexuality is not a disorder. So it is not a disorder. It is not against our culture because look at the temples of the Khajuraho. It is not against the order of the nature because by that logic in Christianity, sex for fun is a crime, is anti-religion. Sex can be conducted only for reproduction, for continuing your generation. If for any other purpose, it is not. It is non-Christian kind of a matter. Long story short, when the matter went to the court said, your morality will not dictate our position. Constitutional morality will dictate. What is constitutional morality? Liberty, freedom. Are these LGBTQ community violating your rights in any way? What they do inside the four walls of their bedroom, what is your problem with them? And let them do whatever they want to do. And it is equality. Straight people can marry or can have sexual relations with each other or can love each other. Why not LGBTQ community? We have to treat them equally because Article 14 talks about equality. Article 15 talks about that there can be no discrimination on sex. Does that mean only sex or does that mean sexual orientation as well? Whether you are straight or you are gay or you are bisexual, doesn't matter. Constitution treats you equally. So whether liberty, equality, justice, these are the features of constitutional morality. And it is on the basis of the touchstone of constitutional morality that we get to decide this case. Homosexuality is not a crime. That's what Supreme Court said in 2018. Now they Johar, we Union of India. That's constitutional morality. Not your morality, constitutional morality. Okay, but the same Supreme Court in 2024 said, if LGBTQ community, they have the right to love, but they don't have the right to marry. So right to marry is not available to them. Why? We will discuss that later. Okay. Now let's come back to our discussion. Constitution can be written or constitution can be unwritten. How? Example, US Constitution. Example, UK Constitution. Classic example of written and unwritten. What does that mean? If you were to ask me, sir, show me the Constitution of India, I will take out this Rahul Gandhi's book, popularized by Rahul Gandhi, and tell you this is the Constitution of India. Constitution of India in the sense is codified. Codified in the sense. And then part 1. Part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, so on and so forth. Codified. Part 1 deals with union and territory. Part 2 deals with citizenship. Part 3 deals with fundamental rights. Part 4 deals with directive principles. Part 4A deals with fundamental duties, so on and so forth. That means this document, our constitution, and we know what is the constitution, basic rules that will govern our society. It is not only written, it is codified into a single document. So that if you were to ask me, where is the Constitution of India? I will take out this beautifully written book and tell you this is the Indian Constitution. Similarly, if you will ask me, show me the Constitution of the United States, I will take out a small pamphlet and tell you this is the Constitution of the United States. Because these are the classic examples of written constitution, where the constitution is written and codified into various parts. What about UK constitution? If you were to ask me, sir, where is the UK constitution? I can't show you. That means, sir, UK constitution is unwritten in a sense, laws are not written. No, laws are written, not codified, to a single document. Why? I don't know. But sir, come on, tell us why. You paid you have to tell us. Otherwise, how will we learn about this? I don't know, maybe that's how the political culture of this country evolved. They never felt the need that all these laws that we have, which are not codified into a single document, they have been running like this for centuries and they never felt the need to codify it. If tomorrow they feel a need to codify these laws, maybe they will do this. But as of now, they have never felt the need. But laws are written. Yes, but not all laws are written. Pensions play a very important role. Pensions in the sense, something which is not mentioned, but something that we follow. Unwritten rules. Written rule in the sense, is it mentioned when you make the payment to subscribe to an academy course that we will have a break in a 3.5-hour class? It's not mentioned anywhere. But it is an unwritten rule that we have to follow, because if we continuously feed you content for 3.5 hours, you'll be lost, you'll not be able to embrace it, remember it, understand it, exhaust it. So it's an unwritten rule. Similarly, in Britain also, which we will discuss later, there are some unwritten rules that they follow. Although that's not mentioned in any law, but that is something that they follow. For example, a bill. The bill is a proposal. And once this bill is voted upon, and it is given to the president or the governor for signature, it becomes an act. Clear? So what is a bill? For example, a bill is introduced in the legislature, whether parliament at the central level or state legislature at the state level. And this bill says, we will give a right to safe drinking water and sanitation as a fundamental right to the people. This is a proposal. But this proposal has to be voted upon by the parliamentarians, just like I asked you, should I give you a break at 7:30 or at 8? Some said 7:30, some said 8. It was a proposal. And then whatever we decide, we will have to act on that. When this bill is voted upon, it is passed by the parliament, it is sent to the president. Once the president signs this, it becomes an act. Can the president refuse to sign this bill? In India, it is explicitly mentioned in the constitution. Mentioned where president can or cannot sign this. Case of Britain. Can the queen or the king refuse to sign a bill? Yes, but only on the advice of the prime minister. Is it mentioned anywhere? No, but it is an unwritten rule, a convention that they follow. That is also considered to be part of the constitution. Similarly, important books. For example, there is a legal scholar who has written something. Let's say he has written or she has written something related to the powers of the king, powers of the prime minister. Even that is considered to be part of the constitution. Which means in case of a written constitution, such as India, this is the constitution and this alone is the constitution. That's it. But in case of an unwritten constitution, it is not codified into a single document. That means laws are written, but they are scattered. They're not codified into one single document. Maybe laws related to human rights mentioned somewhere. laws related to citizenship mentioned somewhere, laws related to the rights mentioned somewhere, but they are not codified into one single document. Why? Because they never consume. If they feel the need, they may do it more. And this is not the only thing that is part of their constitution. Conventions, unwritten rules, they are also treated as if it is part of the constitution. For example, scholarly books written by A.D. Dicey are also considered to be constitution. Whatever A.D. Dicey has written will have the same legal effect as that of the Constitution of United Kingdom. It is a written constitution. If it is an unwritten constitution, written constitution, it is the constitution which is supreme. In an unwritten constitution, it is parliament supreme. In India, for example,